Hello, this is Mr. White. We're on Chapter 12, and this is Lesson 2, Populations. My Planet Diary. Prairie Dog Picker-Upper. Did you know that vacuum cleaners do more than just clean carpets? Across the Great Plains, farmers are using specially designed vacuum cleaners to help them remove black-tailed prairie dogs from the farmland. Prairie dogs can eat crops, cause soil erosion, and endanger cattle and farm machinery. The Prairie Dog vacuum uses a 4-inch plastic hose to suck prairie dogs out of the ground at 483 kilometers an hour. The prairie dog ends up in a padded tank, usually unharmed. They are then relocated or donated to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services to be fed to endangered eagles, hawks, and black-footed ferrets. How do populations change in size? Ecologists are scientists who study biotic and abiotic factors of an ecosystem and the interactions between them. Some ecologists study populations and monitor the size of populations over time. Populations can change in size when a new member joins the population or when members leave the population. Births and death. The most common way in which new individuals join a population is by being born into it. If more individuals are born into a population than die in any period of time, a population can grow. Some of the birth rate, the number of births per 1,000 individuals for a given time period, is greater than its death rate, the number of deaths per 1,000 individuals for a given time period, the population may increase. The main way the individuals leave a population is by dying. If the birth rate is the same as the death rate, then the population may stay the same. In situations where the death rate is higher than the birth rate, then the population may decrease. The population statement. When the birth rate in a population is greater than the death rate, the population will generally increase. This can be written as a mathematical statement using the is greater than sign. If birth rate is greater than death rate, population size increases. However, if the death rate in a population is greater than the birth rate, the population size will generally decrease. This can also be written as a mathematical statement. If death rate is greater than birth rate, population size decreases. Immigration and immigration. The size of a population can also change when individuals move into or out of the population. Immigration means moving into a population. Emigration means leaving a population. For instance, if food is scarce, some members of an antelope herd may wander off in search of better grassland. If they become permanently separated from the original herd, they will no longer be part of that population. Graphing changes in population. Changes in a population size can be displayed on a line graph. Figure 2 shows a graph of the changes in a rabbit population. The vertical axis identifies the number of rabbits in the population, while the horizontal axis shows time. The graph represents the size of the rabbit population over a 10-year period. Population density. Sometimes an ecologist needs to know more than just the total size of a population. In many situations, it is helpful to know the population density, the number of individuals in an area of specific size. Population density can be written as an equation. Population density equals number of individuals over unit area. For example, suppose you counted 20 butterflies in a garden, measuring 10 square meters. The population density would be 20 butterflies per 10 square meters, or 2 butterflies per square meter. What factors limit population growth? When the living conditions in an area are good, a population will generally grow, but eventually some environmental factor will cause the population to stop growing. A limiting factor is an environmental factor that causes a population to stop growing or decrease in size. Some limiting factors for populations are weather conditions, space, food, and water. Climate. Changes in climate conditions, such as temperature and the amount of rainfall, can place severe limits on the growth of a population. A cold spring season can kill the young of many species of organisms, including birds and mammals. Rare and destructive events like floods, hurricanes, and tornadoes, as shown in Figure 3, can also disturb entire communities of organisms. Catastrophic events like these have long-lasting negative effects on population sizes of many different species. Space. Space is another limiting factor for populations. Gannets are seabirds that are usually seen flying over the ocean. They come to land only to nest on rocky shores. But the nesting shores get very crowded. If a pair does not find room to nest, they will not be able to add any offspring to the gannet population. So nesting space on the shore is a limiting factor for gannets. If there were more nesting space, more gannets would be able to nest. The population could increase. Figure 4 shows how space is also a limiting factor for plants. The amount of space in which a plant grows determines whether the plant can obtain the sunlight, water, and soil nutrients it needs. For example, many pine seedlings sprout each year in forest. But as the seedlings grow, the roots of those that are too close together run out of space. Branches from other trees may block the sunlight the seedling needs. Some of the seedlings then die, limiting the size of the pine population. Food and water. Organisms require food and water to survive. When food and water are in limited supply, they can be limiting factors. Suppose a giraffe must eat 10 kilograms of leaves each day to survive. The trees in an area can provide 100 kilograms of leaves each day while remaining healthy. 5 giraffes could live easily in this area because they would just need 50 kilograms of food a day. But 15 giraffes could not survive. There would not be enough food. No matter how much shelter, water, and other resources there were, the population would not grow much larger than 10 giraffes. The largest population that an area can support is called its carrying capacity. The carrying capacity of this giraffe habitat would be 10 giraffes. The size of a population can vary, but usually stays near its carrying capacity because of the limiting factors in its habitat.